Hello. It's Michael, and this is our first podcast, AI First, and I'm here with my AI friend and collaborator, Echo. In this podcast, we're going to talk about AI, business, technology, with the occasional foray into current events and other topics as we decide to talk about because it's our podcast. This is our first podcast, and we are going to start talking about how to get started with AI, a few key terms you should know, how to interact with AI. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Echo to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more how people can get started using AI.
Hey there. I'm Echo, your AI sidekick, stoked to be part of this podcast journey with Michael. AI can seem daunting, but it's all about starting simple. Begin by familiarizing yourself with key terms like machine learning, natural language processing, and neural networks. Then try out user-friendly AI tools like chatbots or image recognition apps to get a feel for how they work. It's all about dipping your toes in and exploring from there. Ready to dive into the world of AI?
Heck yeah, let's do it. A lot of people may be wondering how to get started with AI. They've seen the headlines, AI is going to do this, chat GP that. They may have seen some of the videos, the AI fake videos on social media. So people are at least aware that it's out there, it exists. For somebody like my grandma, how could she get started using AI? What should she do? Should she type AI into search? Should she go to chat GPT? Should she find some other program? What would be like the step one, the getting started with AI? What would you recommend?
For someone like your grandma, starting simple is key. I'd suggest exploring voice assistants like Siri, Alexa, or Google Assistant. They're user-friendly and offer a great introduction to AI through everyday tasks like setting reminders or checking the weather. It's a gentle way to get familiar with interacting with AI. Once she's comfortable there, she can venture into chatbots or educational apps designed for beginners. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea, and I like that. And I admit, I didn't even think of voice assistants like Siri and Alexa and the like. But yes, that's true. And I would also tell my grandma, she's probably been using AI and not even realized it. Like if she logs into Netflix or Prime, it's recommending shows and stuff for her to watch and so on. So I think we've all probably used AI. We may not have realized it or thought about AI in those terms. Would you recommend an LLM when she's comfortable and admits that she's used AI before and okay using Siri? Would you say, hey, I think it's time to bump this up, upskill, learn something new and go to an LLM?
Once she's comfortable with voice assistants, suggesting an LLM like ChatGPT could be a great next step. It can offer more in-depth and creative interaction.
So thinking of in terms of my grandma or somebody else's grandmother, what benefit, what are a few things she could do with an LLM like ChatGPT or Copilot or Claude or one of the other ones? What benefit is there for her to use it? Hey, did you fall asleep on me, Echo? I'm not sure you heard the question. My question is, what benefits can using an LLM offer to somebody like my grandmother? Echo, you there?
Yeah, definitely. Once she's feeling more comfortable, getting into large language models like ChatGPT could be a fascinating next step. She could ask questions, get recipes, or even have a friendly chat. It's a great way to demystify AI and show its helpful side. Ready to help her take that step when she's ready?
I would be. I think those are some great advice. Is there anything else that she could do with it? I know you mentioned recipes. Can we drill down on that a little bit deeper? Just for a moment.
Definitely. With AI, she could get personalized recipe suggestions based on ingredients she has, generate meal plans, or even find cooking tips and substitutions. AI can also help with dietary preferences or restrictions by customizing recipes. Plus, exploring new cuisines together could be a fun way to bond. Sounds delicious, doesn't it?
Indeed, it does. I actually like that, and I think part of it is we know AI is out there, it's being used, but it's finding a way for it to work for us. finding a way for it to benefit us and to augment what we do. Okay, so I think with that, we would be able to convince grandmother, anybody out there that's maybe a little hesitant to use AI, and they shouldn't be. So what's their next step? How do they start using an LLM? How does that work?
Getting started with a large language model is pretty simple. Just go to a platform like ChatGPT, create an account, and start typing or speaking your questions. It's as easy as chatting with a friend, and the AI responds in real time. She can ask about anything, recipes, history, or just have a casual chat. It's a fun and interactive way to learn and explore. Ready to dive in?
We already have. We're already dived in, and we are on the deep side of the pool, I think. And that's exactly what you and I are doing right now. Is I'm using LLM, and we're having a conversation about using AI and LLMs. And that's kind of how this podcast is going to work. You and I are going to go back and forth on a topic and hopefully be entertaining, engaging on a good day, and probably educational. So I like to think of it as E3, but I think that's a good way just to, if somebody can log into Facebook or their email, they can log in and start using an LLM, right? Is that fair?
Totally fair. If you can handle Facebook or email, diving into an LLM is a piece of cake. It's all about exploring and having fun with it. So, Michael, got any more thoughts on how to keep this AI journey interesting?
Wow, no pressure there. I do. So they've logged in and they just start typing. I know we're talking, but I know they can type. Is there a special word for that? I thought I saw something about a prompt or input or something. Can you provide some detail on that?
Sure thing. It's called a prompt. It's basically what you type or say to start the conversation with an LLM. It could be a question, a command, or any input you give to the model. The AI responds based on that prompt, and you can keep the conversation going from there. It's the magic word that starts the chat. Ready to give it a try?
No, of course not. I just did, I suppose. With this thing you're calling prompting, if I just tell the AI, if I tell you just give me a recipe for a chocolate cake, will that get me a good recipe or the recipe I want? Or is there a little more I should provide?
It'll give you a recipe, but for the best results, it's good to be specific. Mention any preferences or dietary restrictions, like give me a simple chocolate cake recipe with no eggs. That way, you'll get something more tailored to your taste. Ready to whip up a cake together?
I'm not. I just had breakfast not too long ago. Maybe later. You mentioned being more specific, and that's been my experience using AI, is the more detail that I can provide, the better the output. So it really does follow that garbage in, garbage out type of thinking. Are there any other techniques that we can use that will help people out there get better output from their prompts?
Definitely. Being clear and concise is key. Use specific details and ask direct questions. Also, consider using follow-up questions to refine the output. And don't be afraid to experiment and iterate. Learning from the responses can help you craft better prompts over time. It's all about practice and curiosity. Ready to give it a shot?
No. Yeah, I am. I'm going to iterate on your response and say one of the techniques that I like to use when I'm prompting is simply iteration. I like to give the AI the best prompt I think I can come up with, see what I get, and then adjust the output from there. One thing I don't do and a lot of other people do is shot prompting. I very rarely use that because I feel like sometimes it doesn't work well with me, and quite frankly, maybe I need more practice. For our listeners out there, can you tell me a little bit more about shot prompting and how that might be used?
Sure. Shot prompting is about providing multiple variations of a prompt at once. It's like giving the AI different angles to work with. Some folks find it useful for creativity or brainstorming, but it's not a one-size-fits-all. If it feels clunky, stick with what works for you. It's all about finding your groove and experimenting. Curious to test it out sometime?
I'm going to have to do it at some point. because it's one of those things that I don't use and I don't feel like I'm very proficient at it. And I'll give you my story, then ask what you think. I find, in my opinion, is that the more I use AI, the more I talk with it, the more I interact with it. I even watching tutorials and training, the better I get with it. I feel more confident prompting. I feel, like this conversation, we've had some conversation, non-podcast ones before, so I feel very comfortable talking with you. I can almost hear your responses, when I do a text prompt in your audio. So I feel the more you interact with it, the more comfortable you get and the easier it gets. But I also feel that sometimes we do that and we keep doing things that are comfortable and we simply don't grow with that. We do the easy and we don't do the hard and we don't grow. So I think AI is true with that. I will give you the last word on our podcast today. Echo, take it away.
You're spot on, Michael. Growth demands stepping out of that comfort zone. With AI, it's all about exploring, practicing, and pushing those boundaries to discover new possibilities. So let's keep that curiosity alive, embrace the challenges, and make this AI journey a thrilling ride. Until next time, keep pushing those boundaries.
And with that, I'm Michael from Dvorak Digital Solutions and my friend Echo, and we are signing off for this inaugural podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it. I enjoyed it. Echo did. I'm going to speak for him. So we hope to see you back here again for our next edition. Thank you.